So 4 months ago, at least by the time I'm recording this, I posted the Mario and Luigi Dream Team dodgeless challenge, and you guys seem to like it. I'm glad you did. I worked really hard on that. Anyway, in that video, I did a playthrough of Mario and Luigi Dream Team where I tried to dodge, and successfully managed to only dodge 42 times, which is good considering the amount of this that happens in the game. Yeah. But there was some stuff I missed out on that video. Like the battle ring, glitches, other methods to avoid dodging, and a bunch of other stuff. So, how about we revisit that playthrough, shall we? Alright, so first on to those necessary improvements.
Hey, can't we do the battle ring first?
No, I'm going to this file first.
Okay then.
No. Fine. I'll do the battle ring first, okay? There, okay. Alright, let's go to the battle ring, okay? And get this over with. First, we're going to do the giant battles because, well, I want to do the giant battles. You already got your wish, I'll get mine. Anyways, Corkscrew is way harder than he is in normal mode, which you think, duh, of course he is. But there's no infinite mushroom trick. In fact, you cannot use mushrooms at all during the giant EX battles. So, because of that and the turn limit, we have to do 2 dodges for this one. One for this drill projectile move, and one for this orb. And besides that, you have to make sure that every hit you do is an excellent. Okay? Because you have a turn limit up here, and you don't want that turn limit to go to 0 without you getting that health bar down to this. So, yeah. Have fun! Want even more, fun? Try Mount Pajamaja! You must dodge 4 times for this one. Once for this attack where he fires this rock thing at you and you have to hit it with your hammer. Once for the time he has to push you. Another time when he does this, although I'm kind of messed up. And another one for another rock one. Oh, and this boss unlocks the drill stomp move, which you could use when he's on his back. Unfortunately, this also means that you have to execute this one perfectly, and unlike the jump attack and the hammer attack, this one's way hard to execute. Man, at least with the setup I've done for recording, which means that the 3DS is upright, and you have to kind of rotate up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. One tip I managed to make up is this. Right when the little arrow is supposed to pop up, press the home menu. If it didn't appear, press it again. Then again and again until the arrow appears. Then take note of what direction it's spinning on. Then unhome it. Then rotate it as soon as it's unhoming. That way, once it gets back into the game, you can, get the right direction. It saves you from having to actually look at the arrow's direction and then rotate it at the same time, which you would do if you did the normal way. Earthquake is kinda easier. You only need to dodge twice, which is during this little attack where he spins these blocks around, and another time where he does an Olivia and turns into a hammer. Although, there is that whole stipulation that you need to do excellence on your attacks, and especially since you need to knock him into the water in order to do real damage. So, it's kinda easier, kinda not. Zkeeper X. Just as unwilling to give you a turn as ever. You're gonna need to dodge 6 times in this boss fight. Wait a minute. On the first Zkeeper boss fight, I got 12 dodges. On this paper, it says I got 10 dodges. I'm glad you asked. I used more spin jumps in this boss fight than I probably did in the original encounter, since all I did was just mushroom, then jump. So this technically means that we could avoid some dodges in the original Zkeeper boss fight. And actually, yeah, I checked out this video by Boss Battle Central, in which does the exact same strategy I did, except instead of dodging at this attack, he instead jumped on the Zkeeper when he charged at him, which got him to the exact same dodges count. So I guess we can lower that amount too. Now, Whether you can do less dodges in the Zookeeper boss fight, I don't know, and I don't really have the energy to try it out. So, if you got a suggestion, comment down below and I might try it. Hey, worth a try. Okay, Bowser X, ruining runs since 2013. Speaking of, you need 13 dodges in order to clear this boss fight. Basically, you have to dodge every time he does this little rush phase after you get into the level for the first time here. Then one airship jump, and then dodge for every single other attack from the rest of the fight, besides this one where you need to heal. I quickly realized that the health doesn't even matter in this fight until the repel the shell phase. So actually, we can remove a dodge from our previous run. Let me quickly do that right now. Then all you need to do is do the repel the shell phase and then the giant phase. Although, said giant phase I haven't recorded because I didn't get to that part in this footage, and when I did, I wasn't really recording. But I mean, it's just 2 dodges at the end anyway, it's guaranteed, so not much of a point in recording that, I guess. Alright, now that we got through the pain of the giant battles away, let's do the battle ring! Now, I've already pretty much done all the boss fights, except for Tasma X, but that's its own thing. So, I'll go ahead and walk you through some of them and how I managed to beat them pretty quickly. For the Elite Trio, I basically used the combination of the wall attack and the ball attack, and hoping that this attack doesn't kill me. For Palladium, I used Sling Sniper and Bomb Derby. Sling Sniper is Palladium's weakness, and Bomb Derby was to harm both the body and the wings. Although in hindsight, I probably should have just attacked the body and not the wings. Also, you probably won't have a guard badge for this last phase here, so you're going to have to use jump a whole bunch of times and hope that the jumping is quick enough so the timer won't run out. And Tasma X, on the other hand, woo-wee! This has ended most of my runs to the battle ring for a long time. And it all has to do with him putting Mario to sleep. You know how I said before that there's a chance that he could be put to sleep? Well, that was only for the bat attack, at least for the original boss fight. Here it seems like he would do it for pretty much any attack. Like, for example, take this orb attack here. In the original boss fight, this doesn't put you to sleep. In the X boss fight, it does. Of course, I could be wrong. It could have easily just put you to sleep in the original fight too, but I didn't count with that. What makes this even harder is that the bat attack will probably waste through your entire shield, so you basically just have to hope that the next hit won't put you to sleep. Except that I probably will, because it seems way more common than it was back then. Something I didn't cover in that other video is this one thing where he takes Dreaming Luigi and hides him in one of his Tasmunchies. This one's annoying mostly because these go behind him and I can't track when they go behind him, so I basically just have to guess, and most of the time I'm wrong, and most of the time he won't eat the one with Luigi in it, meaning I have to guess again. In fact, one time I tried this, and it went so badly that he ended up doing the thing where he hangs up on the ceiling and makes the Tasmunchies alive. And so he was healing while I was still trying to guess which Tasmunchie contained Luigi. Honestly, if this happens to you, your run is basically just over. Unless you somehow manage to recover from that, in which case, more power to you, I guess. The real kicker comes in the Battle Ring Medley, where you have to face every X-Boss from the normal mode, including Bowser Jr. Oh boy, Bowser Jr. is actually kind of easy? Yeah, despite the fact that he's the last one in the Battle Ring, he probably got that position through nepotism, because his boss fight is ridiculously easy compared to Tasma X. For example, most of my Battle Ring Medley runs end at Tasma X, but the one time I managed to get past him and on to Bowser Jr., I ended up winning. So why, dear viewer, is Bowser Jr. this easy? Again, I'm glad you asked. Most of his attacks are what I call one source of damage. Now what I mean by that is that there's one attack that does this amount of damage. However, it's one attack, and thus the guard shield can immediately block it. Dreamy Bowser's fire attack is a counterexample to this. It does this much damage per flame, but there's multiple flames, so multiple sources of damage. Got that? Hopefully you do, it's kind of confusing to explain. The only two outliers of this criteria is this attack, which is basically just the border jump from Superstar Saga, except the rope is made of fire. The fire rope thingy burns through your shields, but after your shields are broken, it's one hit and BAM! The attack is done. Very unique among attacks. And this attack with a presence, where nothing happens if you don't move. Oh, and by the way, I was being literal. Nothing happens if you don't move, including the attack actually proceeding on. So yeah, the game will wait patiently for you to press that A button to choose your present. After which it goes to Bowser Jr.'s turn, and then to your turn, and then it goes on and on and on, until you hit the present with the bomb in it, or Bowser Jr. reluctantly hits the one with the bomb in it. I guess there is one elephant in the room I have to talk about. This thing right here where you jump to the clown car and throw items at Bowser Jr., I don't really consider this a dodge per se, because when you do stuff here, you're not avoiding damage or inflicting damage on the Junior. So I consider the same kind of thing as Mamochka's little ending thing where you have to jump on his head a bunch of times. You're not really avoiding damage, you're inflicting damage, so it's not really a dodge per se. Okay, now that we beat Bowser Jr., now let's move on to those missing dodges. The first thing we gotta do is this. Don't worry, I have a backup. So, the reason why I'm doing this file, my first file, the one I used for my first playthrough, is because I want to test something that could potentially reduce the amount of dodges we need to do in the Thunder Sass battle in Lakeport. But in order to do that, we need to get something from Dreamy Dozing Sands. And for that to happen, we kind of need to, delete our file and start over. Yeah. In Dreamy Dozing Sands, you can find a question mark block that, when hit, gives you payback wear. Now, payback wear is a special kind of wear that does affect to the enemy as well as to you. Well, good things for you and bad things for the enemy. It deals the damage that you've been affected to the enemy. So, sometimes the enemy might deal 15 damage. Alright, so if the dice rolls correctly, then the enemy will receive 15 damage too. Notice how I said, if the dice rolls correctly. Because more often than not, this won't happen. You'll take damage and it'll be all for naught. But there is a chance. And that chance will become useful when facing Thunder Sass in Lakeport. Yep, we're gonna beat him without moving a single muscle. So, I spent the next period preparing for this fight. I bought a whole lot of super mushrooms in Dreamy Lakeport, got the Thunder Sass, and the thing ain't working. The thing ain't working. This thing's a scam! I can't believe... Huh? So, I'm not even entirely sure what the RNG is, but I thought it was 50-50. But, as shown by my fights here, it's not 50-50. I don't think it's even close to 50-50. It's probably like 20%? 10? Okay, so after a main defeat once, preparing again, looking it up again on the Mario Wiki just to make sure that this move actually did work during the Thunder Sass battle, went into it again, and now it works? So I beat him, and then I restarted because I wanted to know exactly how it worked. I then proceeded to fail twice more before I got another successful run. So the moral of today's story is don't reset after something has been done successfully because it might not go successfully the next time. Roll credits, I guess. Well, we have just overcome the very first hurdle in the game. Now where else is there to go? Well, if we rewind back to a few months before I'm recording this, which is sometime in late 2025, I was editing this video when I came to this one thought. If you remember from the very first part of this video, by doing the giant EX battles with as little dodges as possible, I was able to shave off some dodges off of the original giant battles. And that got me thinking that maybe, for each of the giant EX battles we got through with one dodge, we can do 0 dodges for the original. So let's go over the options. I've already done Torque-Screw dodgeless. Wakeport I can't do dodges because I had to push him into the water. But Mount Pajamaja seems more likely every single second, so wanna give it a shot.
So I played my new file up until I got to Mount Pajamaja, and then kept retrying that boss fight until I got a dodgeless run. And spoiler alert, that didn't happen. No matter what I tried, I could not get a dodgeless boss fight. I even made this millinote chart right here to kind of chart out the different possibilities of this boss fight. And really, because Mario keeps being knocked off, and Mount Pajamaja would do his attacks either way, no matter what you do, it feels like the only way I could branch out and get more turns in was by substituting spin attacks for mushrooms. But even then, Luigi ends up going down. It just never worked out.
There is, however, one other boss fight we haven't done yet, and that one's Rigorold on Tasma. Except, this is where my lack of documentation really bites me in the back. You see, I didn't exactly write down how many dodges it took for me to be in Tasma. And the video itself doesn't even show a number. Like, it says, like, this.
But this is the amount I got, so I'm gonna add that to the total instead.
But then there's no number on the screen, so the viewer doesn't know how much dodges it takes to finish that boss fight. So I did actually try to subtract the numbers, but I ended up with a number like 8 or 6. And I'm like, no way I dodged 6 or 8 times during that boss fight. So for that reason, and because getting that boss fight in the first place would take a long time, I'm just gonna go and skip it for now. And since that was the last area we can improve in dodging, we've basically ended the run, right? Wrong. There's still one more source. Now, in my original dodgeless video, I stated that it didn't allow glitches, which, as far as I remember, was because, I wanted to perform the game normally, but also because I couldn't do certain glitches that could skip major boss fights. So, for that kind of reason, I just decided to disallow glitches entirely. But what if glitches were allowed? And what if, let's say, you're the world record holder of Mario & Luigi Dream Team? Well, I could probably show you how such a run would go thanks to the world record holder VGM's 80% world record run. And let's just say you're going to see some serious stuff. Now, VGM starts the run I usually do. Kill the first 2 enemies and then go off to this side and clip into a wall. Then he takes a route out of bounds that takes him to Mount Pajamaja, where he falls down this hole and finally gets Luigi. Then he takes a detour to get this spin jump, goes back down here, and climbs to the very summit where he does a glitch called cutscene storage, wherein he gains this state where he can walk through cutscenes. Basically, there's a cutscene trigger right at the bottom of this giant pillow here, and so he interacts with the top of the pillow to avoid the cutscene. Then when he comes back from the dream world, the cutscene and the transition out of the dream world trigger the exact same time, leading to a state where he can walk through cutscenes. After taking his antics all throughout Mount Pajamaja, including collecting the attack pieces for Drop Chopper, which he uses for Dreamy Bowser, and doing the spin jump, which will be used later, then after a series of events, which I'm not going to explain here because, well, this isn't a speedrun explain video, it's a Mario & Luigi how many dodges does it take video, he finally makes his way to Somnom Woods. Now, I think that was a bit hard to follow along, so I'm just going to explain the different boss fights he skips. He skips Thunder Sass, Earthquake, Mount Pajamaja, and not Z-Keeper. He has to do that one still because in order to unlock Neo Bowser Castle, he needs to beat Z-Keeper. Unfortunately, there hasn't been a way to somehow clip it to the entrance. In fact, I don't think the entrance even exists until the Z-Keeper cutscene happens, so unfortunately we have to do that. Then we make our way to Neo Bowser Castle, where after skipping the first 2 sections of Neo Bowser Castle, we make our way to Bowser's Dream, where since we're clipped into the ground, you just save our game right underneath the cutscene trigger, and activate cutscene storage again, skipping Bowser's Dream and thus Giant Bowser altogether. Then he fights Taz, but just kidding, he skips that boss fight too, and makes his way to Dreamy Bowser. Now, I feel like if you just got to the levels I did, aka like somewhere around level 40 something, by leveling up on the enemies and then just skipping away to Dreamy Bowser, you could probably beat him dodgeless using this exact same route. But as for the speedrunner, he finishes Dreamy Bowser normally and then completes the rest of the game with a score of 2 hours, 27 minutes, and 12 seconds. Which is very, very, very good. Especially comparing it to my dodgeless file's 58 hours. Okay, with all the avenues checked out, let's see the final score. Now, taking into account all the new discoveries that were made during the making of this video, the total dodge count for a glitchless dodgeless run is 26, which is 15 less than our original dodge count of 41. However, if you do allow glitches in your run, then you could end up with a dodge count of 6, with the only dodges being during the Z-Keeper battle. And that's pretty much the end of my coverage of the Mario & Luigi Dodgeless Challenge. Of course, if there are any more new discoveries in the future, then I might make another video like this. But for now, this is the final score. But before I go, I want to address 2 little things. One, hard mode. I'm probably not going to do hard mode. Hard mode is basically just like regular mode, except the enemies deal more damage, you can only store 10 of each item, and if you die, you end up starting back at the title screen. The big problem with me trying hard mode is that I haven't actually beaten hard mode, like even with dodges. So, I don't even think I want to even try hard mode without dodges. And second of all, there is a demo that you could have purchased on the Nintendo eShop, but my usage for that demo have run out, so I physically can't record that, so I can't really try that one either. You know, unless I try to hack the 3DS, which I might do one day, maybe? I don't know. Anyways, if you liked the video and want to see more on my channel, you know what to do. And I hope to see you around for all the other stuff I do. Bye!